How you doing there? Welcome back to Babylon Talmud. Today we're studying Daf Nun Tes, Daf 59 of Masechta BavaBasra. Friends. I guess we got like a little bit of work to do today. I guess we're kind of doing like a daf and a half, but it's a BavaBasra daf and a half. So it should be manageable. I reviewed this daf yesterday. I'm recording the day after. I had to go somewhere yesterday. I was in Paris Chana, and I met some of the Babylon Talmud Chev over there. I was reviewing this on the train. Was it a train? Yeah, I was reviewing it on the train. Yeah, I was reviewing it on the train, so hopefully I reviewed it enough. I got some coffee over here. Alright, there we go. Right. Nun Ches, Amun Beis, Mishnah, about halfway through the daf. Hamarziv ein lo chazaka uah. So, like is it called like a gutter thing? So if you can imagine, or at least I could imagine, hopefully I'm imagining rightly. Like rain on the roof, and then the rain collects in like a gutter, and then what is this, like Erevin or something? Alright, good luck, friends. So like, I guess the water kind of like trickles down the roof, and then it kind of collects in like some gutter. If you can imagine, let's say like the side of the house, and let's say, this is gonna be such a terrible description. Like, I don't know, So if I can imagine it, like you draw like a house, so it's like kind of like a rectangle, and then you got like a triangle roof kind of thing. So imagine the rain is like raining on the roof, on the triangle roofy thingy, and then the water kind of like trickles down from the triangle roofy thingy, and it's going to go down like the rectangle wally things, and then but before it can go down the wall, it gets trapped. It gets trapped in like this gutter kind of thing. And I guess you have two parts of the gutter. You have one part which goes along the length of the rectangular thingy. And then when it gets to the end of the rectangular thingy, like gets to the corner, so then you have like this gutter. I don't know what part's the gutter, and I don't know. But you have like the long part that would go across the top of like the rectangular thingy. And then when it gets to the end, to like the top corners, so you'll have like these pipe thingies that like go down to the ground, right? And then the water, basically, instead of like trickling down the sides of the house, the water would be carried to the end of the rectangular thingy, to like the end of the house, and then go down a pipe from the end of the house. Okay, the point being, if you followed that description somehow. So the point being, there are like two parts to this gutter. There's like the long part, and then there's the down part. There's the horizontal part and the vertical part, maybe you could say, right? I hope that description did the at least the minimum that it needed to. So a marziv. So the marziv is the vertical part at the end, okay, and the mazchila is the horizontal part, okay. The assumption is that the mazchila, the horizontal part, is like more kavua than the marziv, which is the vertical part. I hope that works. So a marziv, so the vertical part, ein lo chazaka, there is no chazaka, v'yesh limkomo chazaka, but it's placed as a chazaka. The Gemara is going to explain what this might mean. Hamazchila yesh la chazaka, and the horizontal part that goes along the sort of top of the rectangular thingy of the house. So mazchila yesh la chazaka, the horizontal part does have a chazaka. Okay, a sulam mitzri, an Egyptian ladder. Ein lo chazaka, has no chazaka. So, okay, it's like kind of like a smaller ladder in the chotzer, so has no chazaka. So if you leave the small ladder in there for a while, it doesn't mean you can leave it in there forever. But a big ladder, so I don't know, let's say you have like a big ladder in your friend's chutzner or something. So then if it's there for, I guess, 3 years, then you can just keep it there forever. A small window that opens into your friend's chutzner is no chazaka, right? It's like at any time your friend can be like, all right, close up the window. But if you have like a big window peering into your friend's chutzner, well then, if you have it for 3 years, then you can be like, well, you let me. We arranged it. What's the definition of a Egyptian window? If a person's head can't fit into that window, he can't stick his head in, so then that would be considered a Egyptian window. Rabbi Yehuda says, and if there's like some kind of like frame in the window, so then meaning like a board on the top and a board on the bottom and a board on either side or something. So even if it's a very small window and your head can't fit in it, but it has a frame in it, well, that would be considered enough to be able to establish a chazaka with that window. With that, I'm going to drink a shtick of coffee. I don't have that much coffee left, so I got to make it last. My marzev in the chazaka veishim kol chazaka frekti gemara. What does it mean that a marzev, that the vertical part of the gutter does not have a chazaka? Veishim kol chazaka, but its place has a chazaka. What does this mean? So 3 possibilities. Amar Yehuda Amar Shmuel, says Yehuda in the name of Shmuel, Achi Kama, this is what it means. Hamarzev ein lo chazaka meruach achas v'yeshlim komo chazaka mishtei ruchis. So it says Yehuda Amar Shmuel, what it means is that, look, if a person, let's go back to our house thingy. So let's say you have a northern corner of the house and a southern corner of the house, okay? So let's say the gutter has, with this marzev, this vertical gutter thingy, has been there for 3 years on the northern part of the house. So we say, look, so now the thing is, so it's Shimon's house, okay? But Shimon's house is, so Shimon's got this house, alright? And in the house there's a gutter, right, for the rain. Now, the gutter the water was pouring into, we said Shimon has the house, so the water was pouring into Ruvain's chutzner, okay? Shimon's got the house, and the water from the gutter was pouring into Ruvain's, I want to switch that around. Can I switch that around, or is it too late? I could switch it around? Thank you. Ruvain's got the house, and the water is draining into Shimon's chutzner. So, now this has been going on for 3 years already. Okay? That Ruvain's gutter is draining into Shimon's chutzner. So we say that, so according to Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel, so we're saying that Ruvain has a chazaka to be able to have a gutter. Okay? For the past 3 years, Ruvain's gutter has been draining into Shimon's chutzner, and Shimon hasn't, Shimon's been okay with that. So therefore, he has a chazaka that he's entitled, I guess he worked it out with Shimon, and that he can continue to have a gutter draining into Shimon's chutzner. What he doesn't have a chazaka on is the location of the gutter. He has a chazaka that he can drain the water from his roof into Shimon's chutzner, but the fact that the vertical marzev has been in the northern end of his house for the past 3 years, that doesn't make a difference. Shimon could say, hey, Reuven, I want to build epis over there. I need you to move your gutter to the southern end of the house. So Reuven's got to move it to the southern end, right? So Reuven has a chazaka that to be able to have a gutter, he does not have a chazaka that he can have a gutter davka in the northern end. Shimon can say move it to the southern end. So again, my marzev ain't no chazaka. What does it mean that the marzev does not have a chazaka? V'yeshtim komo chazaka, but it's placed as a chazaka. Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel. Sorry, Ram. So it says Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel. Hachikam. This is what it means. Marzev ain't no chazaka miruach achas. A vertical gutter does not have a chazaka, in a specific direction. Oh my gosh, I'm like, my eyes. Okay. So direction, is that the right word? Side, location, I don't know. But cumulatively between the two ends, the gutter does have a chazaka. Okay, so it doesn't have a chazaka to be in one specific location, but between the north and the south, there's a chazaka that he is entitled to drain his gutter into Shimon's chatzor. Reb Chanina Amar, says Reb Chanina, Hamarzev ein lo chazaka she'imaya aruch mikatzro v'yeshtem kom chazaka she'mpalo okro eno okro. So Reb Chanina says. So Reb Chanina disagrees with the Yehuda Amar Shmuel, and he says that the marzev, the vertical chazaka, the vertical gutter, does have a chazaka even in the location, right? So if the gutter has been in the northern part of the house for the past 3 years, so then if the gutter has been in the northern part of the house for the past 3 years, so it can stay there. What there's no chazaka on is the length of that gutter, right? If the length it's a very long gutter, and Shimon's like, wait, Reuven, I want you to shorten that. Okay, so he shortens it, right? There's no chazaka that like the gutter just can stay there and take up as much room as as Reuven wants. So again, Reb Chanina says, Reb Chanina Amarzev ein lo chazaka, that a gutter has no chazaka. Shem haya aruch mekatzro, to the extent that if it was a long gutter, so then Shimon can have Reuven shorten it. Ve'yeshtem komo chazaka, but its place, its location, does have a chazaka. Shem balo okro eno okro. Shimon cannot make Reuven, remove the gutter, and move it somewhere else. Rav Yirmiyah bar Abba, says Rav Yirmiyah bar Abba, Hamarzev ein lo chazaka, that this gutter has no chazaka. Shemrotze livnos tachtov bone v'yeshem kono chazaka shembala okro eno okro. So it says of Yirmiyah Amar Abba, what it means Amarzev ein lo chazaka means that Reuven, whose gutter it is, so sure if Reuven has the gutter in the northern part of his house for the past 3 years, so he's got a chazaka, and the gutter stays there. But the chazaka is limited to the fact that he can have a gutter, where it is in the northern part. He does not, he can't claim, well, just like I have the right to have this chazaka here, this gutter here, also all the area beneath the gutter is mine too. Shimon, you can't use it. No. He does not have. He's entitled to have his gutter there, but the area beneath it is not his. It's not Reuven's. It's Shimon's chatzor. Shimon can do whatever he wants there. So again, that this gutter does not have a chazaka. That if Shimon wants to, build something underneath the gutter, he may. If Shimon wants to build something there, he may. Reuven cannot stop him. And the place though has a chazaka, but Shimon can't tell him move it somewhere else. No, Reuven keeps it there, and he's entitled to keep his gutter there. But the area beneath the gutter is Shimon. Shimon can do whatever he wants there. Wow, this talk is taking longer than I expected. Tnan. So now our Mishnah had said Hamazchila yesh lachazaka. Okay. So we said in our Mishnah that the horizontal section of the gutter does have a chazaka. So interesting. So we're saying that the vertical part of the chazaka, of the gutter, does not have a chazaka. The horizontal part of the gutter does have a chazaka. So okay. So the vertical part doesn't have a chazaka. The horizontal part does have a chazaka. So we have to. Okay. Let's go weiter for a second. So tonight, so we're saying that the horizontal part of the gutter does have a chazaka. So therefore, bishlam levanda omar hanach tarte shapir. So this makes sense. So this distinction between the horizontal gutter and the vertical gutter makes sense according to Rav Yehuda Omer Shmuel and according to Rab Chanina. Because what do they say? So Rav Yehuda Omer Shmuel says what? That the vertical gutter does not. So Rav Yehuda Omer Shmuel says the vertical gutter does not have a chazaka in terms of its location, right? If Reuven had it in the north, Shimon can say to him, "I want you to move it to the south." As opposed to the horizontal part of the chazaka where it stays where it is. Okay? So we're saying that by the vertical part there's no chazaka, right? Shimon can always say, Reuven, I want you to move it, which is not the case with the horizontal part of the gutter. Shimon can't say to Reuven, move it. Okay? According to Rab Chanina, who says that Shimon can say to Reuven, shorten it. So again, that would only be by the vertical part of the gutter. Shimon cannot say to Reuven, shorten it by the horizontal part of the gutter. Okay, so according to Rav Yehuda Omer Shmuel, according to Rab Chanina, I can understand the distinction between the vertical part of the gutter and the horizontal part of the gutter. As Lemanda Omar, Shemratza Livnos Tachtov Bone, my nafkale mina. But I don't understand, according to Rav Yirmiyah bar Abba, what would be the difference between the vertical part of the gutter and the horizontal part of the gutter? Because what does he say? Rav Yirmiyah bar Abba says that by the vertical part of the gutter there's no chazaka. What does that mean? It means that Shimon can build underneath it. Okay, so we're saying that so if there's a distinction between the vertical part of the chazaka and the horizontal part of the chazaka, so what would that mean? That would mean that Shimon can build underneath the vertical part of the chazaka, but not underneath the horizontal part of the chazaka. What does Reuven care? Again, according to the opinion who says that there's no chazaka by the vertical part of the gutter, meaning that if Shimon wants to build underneath it, he may. So then, if we say that there's no chazaka, right, that the opposite would be true by the horizontal. So what would that mean? That Shimon can't build underneath it? Right, that there is a chazaka by the horizontal part, meaning that the part underneath it belongs to Reuven and Shimon can't build underneath it. What does Reuven care if Shimon builds underneath it? So you could say, well, the reason why Reuven cares if Shimon builds underneath it is because we're talking about a vertical part of the gutter that is made out of stone. The Amrle that Reuven says to Shimon, Lo nichali de tisra ashisoi, that well, if when you're going to be knocking around with your knockers down there and doing construction, it's going to disturb my heavy stone vertical gutter thingy, and it might fall down or get ruined or whatever. I don't want you knocking around down there. So therefore, so that is why, according to Yirmiyah bar Abba, Reuven would be able to say, I don't want you knocking around over there, down there. Okay, well, this taka going to go slower than I imagined it would. Omer Yehuda Omer Shmuel. Oh, says Yehuda Omer Shmuel. Tzinu amekaleach mayim l'chotzor chaveru. Okay, so if you have a gutter that is, that water is draining from Reuven's roof into Shimon's chotzer. Okay, so Yehuda Omer Shmuel tzinu amekaleach mayim l'chotzor chaveru uva bal hagag l'sosmo. And Reuven says, you know what? I'm done. Reuven's been draining his roof water into Shimon's chotzer for the past, who knows how long? 5 years, let's say. Let's just say 3 years. He has a chazaka. It's been 3 years. He has a chazaka. And so Reuven's been draining the water from his roof into Shimon's chutzner for the past 3 years. And Reuven decides, you know what, I'm not going to do this anymore. I don't know, he comes up with some other solution but that doesn't involve Shimon's chutzner. So interestingly, says Avinu Shmuel, Shimon can say, hey, Reuven, no, you got to keep draining your roof water into my chutzner. Because Shimon says to Reuven, interestingly, well, just like, you thought that you were getting, the benefit of my chutzner, that you could drain the water from your roof into my chutzner. Well, guess what? Ledidi nami. What do you think? I'm just the miskena over here. I'm the nebuchadnezzar down here that has to deal with my chutzner being flooded all the time. Not so. I got free water. I got water that was collected into one place. I can collect it in buckets and have it for whatever I need water for. I guess they didn't necessarily have, I don't know, they probably didn't have faucets and regular plumbing and things like that. So, I can understand, I guess, that, look, it could be a win-win, right? Reuven has a solution for his rainwater to drain it from his roof, and Shimon gets a collection, right? Collected, we can just have that water go straight into some big container of his that he has water, and now he has water to do stuff with, right? So therefore, right, so we thought that all the advantage was to Reuven, but actually says Shimon, wait, Reuven, no, don't go nowhere, right? Just like, you had this advantage of having your gutter there, and I can't say anything to you because you have a chazaka. Well, guess what? You can't say anything to me either. Ledidinami, to me oichit, koni li, my deigroch. I was kone, right? We had a deal. You were going to be able to drain your water into my chutzner, and I was going to be able to have the advantage of your, drained water. Sidmar Boshaya Omar says, Boshaya Ma'akev. Boshaya says that Shimon can taka say to Reuven, you got to keep, I'm entitled to continue getting that water. Reb Chama Omar Einu Ma'akev. So Boshaya's father, Reb Chama, says that no, Shimon can't prevent Reuven from moving his gutter. Also, Shaila the Rabisa, then they asked Rabisa, who was Reb Chama's father and Reb Boshaya's grandfather, and he says, Ma'akev, taka, like Reb Boshaya had said, that Shimon can prevent Reuven from moving his gutter. Kari Ole Rami Bar Chome, so Bar Chome says about this scenario of Achuta Meshulosh. So here in Yinotek, that the trifecto thread will not quickly be broken, and the Rashbam directs us to the Gemara in Bava Metzia. It says, that from the third generation of Talmidei Chachamim, the Torah goes back to its, host. I think in Bava Metzia, I thought we were saying that once you have like 3 generations of Torah scholars, then it will continue. We're saying here in like the third generation, Reb Oshaya. So first of all, it was 3 generations of Talmidei Chachamim, Reb Oshaya, Reb Chama, and Reb Bisa. But also Reb Oshaya was saying like his grandfather, Reb Bisa. Reb Oshaya beno shel Reb Chama beno shel Reb Bisa. This Chut HaMashul Shlom here, Yinotek refers to Reb Oshaya, the son of Reb Chama, the son of Reb Bisa. Sulam HaMitzri ein lo chazake. So this Egyptian ladder does not have a chazake. So even if Reuven's ladder is in Shimon's chutzner for 3 years, if it's a small ladder, so there's no chazake. What's this small Egyptian ladder? They say by the Besmedrash of Reb Yanai, kol she'ein lo arba chavokin, or chovkin, chavokin sounds good to me. It doesn't have 4 steps on it. If there's less than 4 steps, then it is a Egyptian ladder, and there's no chazaka. Cholon ha-mitzvahs ein lo chazaka v'chulei. An Egyptian window does not have a chazaka. So if you have like a small little window peering out from Reuven's house into Shimon's chutzner, so then into Shimon's chotzer, so then there's no chazaka, and at any point Shimon can say to Reuven, close up that window. I don't want you peering into my chotzer. Ma'ishna gabe sulim dilo mefarish, u'ma'ishna gabe cholim de mefarish. How come by the Egyptian ladder the Mishnah did not describe what an Egyptian ladder is, and how come by a window the Mishnah does describe what an Egyptian window is? You can't stick your head in. Rabbi Yehuda says that even if you can't stick in your head, if it has a frame, so then it's considered proper. So mishum dika boy ifluga Rabbi Yehuda b'seifa. Well, the reason why the Mishnah explained what an Egyptian ladder versus a tsuri ladder is, and it did not do so by. Wait, what? The reason why the Mishnah explained what the Egyptian versus tsuri window is, but not by the ladder, is because by the window there's taka the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda as well. So there's a machlekes. So because they wanted to explain the differing opinions, so he mentioned the descriptions, but there was no differing opinion by the ladder, so it did not include it in the Mishnah. Okay, so again, mishum dekam boy ifluge Rabbi Yehuda b'sefer, because we want to make the distinction for Rabbi Yehuda in the sefer. Amar Zera. Says Reb Zeir, L'mata midal amis yesh lo chazaka. Okay, this is interesting. Says Reb Zeir, L'mata midal amis. Okay, that when we're talking about a chalon hamitzvus, that's when we're talking about a big proper window, and we're saying that if it's there for 3 years, you can make it. Right, it could be a chazaka. So if Reuven has a chalon tzuris, if Reuven has a large window, in his house, and it's there for 3 years, opening into Shimon's chotzer, so he has a chazaka. So now it's interesting. So there's like different aspects to this chazaka, right? There's 2 aspects to this chazaka. One is that, so if Reuven's window has been there for 3 years, so it's a keeper. Shimon can't say, hey Reuven, I don't want you peering into my chotzer. It's already been there for 3 years, and Reuven can claim we had an arrangement. And secondly, right, we say that a window has a chazaka also opposite it, right, because of the light. So if Shimon wants to build a wall right opposite Reuven's window, with less than 4 amas of space, Reuven can say to Shimon, wait, Shimon, you're blocking my light. This is my window. It's here. It's allowed to be here. You can't build a wall right adjacent to it that's going to block the light. Sorry, Mom. So where are we? So Reb Zeir says Reb Zeir, Lemata midalad amas. So if the large window, if Reuven's large window is within 4 amas of the ground, yesh lo chazaka. So Reuven has a chazaka that he can keep his that the window is Reuven has a chazaka that the window is a keeper, and also Shimon can't build a wall within 4 amas of it to block the light. V'yochol limchos. Now within 3 years, Shimon though can say, hey Reuven, I don't want you, I don't want that large window there. So after 3 years, Reuven has a chazaka to keep the window, and that Shimon can't build a wall opposite it. Within 3 years, Shimon can say, Reuven, I want you to close up that window. The malami arba amas. Now, if it is above 4 amas from the ground, now 4 amas is like, well, I guess it's technically only like 6 feet. But even 6 feet, whatever. Could be 8 feet. Anyways, but if the window is above 4 amas, well then that's considered, a very high window. You can't peer at, Reuven's not going to be able to peer out through that window into Shimon's chotzer. It's too high. So in that case, so l'malam mi'arba amas, if the window is above 4 amas from the ground, ein lo chazaka. Well, then Reuven has no chazaka, which means even if it's been there for 3 years, he can't claim that it's a keeper. And also, Shimon can build ve'eno yochol limchos, right? And if Shimon wants to at any point build a wall opposite that window, Ruvain can't say I don't want you building that window or that wall opposite my window because there's no chazaka. Okay. Reb Illa Amar says Reb Illa afilu l'mala me'arba amos ein lo chazaka. V'yachol limchos. Wait, one second. One second. Ein lo chazaka den chaver mak ben u'shabon shchino ein yachol la'akev alav alav. Okay. Wait one second. Okay. Wait, so what did you say? So, oh gosh, where am I? Okay, one second. Alright, let's do this again. Okay, so if this large window is within 4 amos, so yesh chazaka. So if Reuven's had it there for 3 years, and he has a chazaka v'yochel limchos, but at the same time within the 3 years, Shimon can say, I don't want you building a window. L'mala me'arba amos, if it's above 4 amos, okay, that it's like kind of not easy to see out of. So ein lo chazaka. So then Reuven can't claim a chazaka after 3 years. Ve'enu yochel limchos, but at the same time, Shimon, if Reuven wants to build the window, Shimon can't automatically veto it and say, I don't want you to build it. Okay? So, okay, fine. So, it's, okay, fine. So it seems like this kind of like weird kind of area, right? That meaning a large window above 4 amos, Reuven can never establish a chazaka to say that, well, I've had it for 3 years, so therefore it's mine, and you can't build a wall opposite it. Like there's none of that chazaka stuff. At the same time, if Reuven wants to build the window, Shimon can't automatically say, I don't want you to build it. Okay, fine. Rabbi Illa Amar says, Rabbi Illa, afilu l'mayla me'arba amos, even when it's above 4 amos, ein lo chazaka. Okay, there's no chazaka, but v'yachol limchos. So says Rabbi Illa that Shimon can say, I don't want you building that window. Okay, so according to Reb Zera, if Reuven wants to build this window above 4 amos, so Shimon can't say, I don't want you building that window. According to Rabbi Illa, Shimon can say, I don't want you building that window. So lema bekofin amida stom kamiflige. So let's say that the machlokas between Reb Zera and Reb Illa is with regard to kofin amida stom. Nu Reb Nil, do you want to explain to all of us what this means? Zenen v'zelu chasr. Because since the window is above 4 amos, so the assumption is that Reuven can't look out of the window anyways. It's too tall. It's too high. So therefore the shaila is, the window doesn't really bother anybody, right? Reuven builds a window above 4 amos. Can't look out of it anyways. Shimon's coming and saying, I don't want you building the window. What does Shimon care? Reuven can't. It's not like he could look out into Shimon's chutzner anyways. It's too high. So therefore it's zenen, and Reuven gets a benefit, I guess, because the light comes in. V'zelo chaser, and Shimon doesn't lose anything. Because it's no invasion of privacy. Reuven can't look out of the window anyways. So let's say the machlokes between Reb Zera and Reb Illa is vis-a-vis zenen and v'zelo chaser, kofna midas sedom. That Reb Zera says that Shimon cannot prevent Reuven, because zenen and v'zelo chaser, leave him alone. Leave Reuven alone. Whereas Reb Illa says that even though it's zenen and v'zelo chaser, still Shimon can't say Reuven. Shimon can say, Reuven, I don't want you building that window. Okay? So let's say that the machlokes here between Reb Zera and Reb Illa is vis-a-vis zenen and v'zelo chaser. Kofin amidas stom. To my sover kofin, that Reb Zera would say that we enforce zenen and v'zelo chaser, leave him alone. So therefore Shimon cannot prevent Reuven. My sover ain't kofin. And Reb Illa says, we don't enforce zenen and v'zelo chaser. And even though it's zenen and v'zelo chaser, Shimon can nonetheless say, Reuven, I don't want you building that window. Lo duchuliamu kofin. No, everyone agrees that Zenenev Zelu Chaser, we enforce. Well then, why does Rabbi Illa say that Shimon can stop Ruvain from building that window? Because Shimon can make the argument, well, Shimon can make the argument is that Ruvain might sometime take a benkala, a little step stool, and he'll stand on the benkala and peer out and gaze at Shimon while he's in his chotzer, and Shimon doesn't want that. He doesn't want. So this is not Zenenev Zelu Chaser. There is a chisaron over here. Shimon says, look, I don't feel comfortable, right? A chotzer is my own private space. I don't feel comfortable that I'm at Ruvain's mercy, Ruvain's whims, that he's not going to take a benkala and start gazing at me while I'm in my chotzer. Lo naimli. So there is a chisaron. So Reb Zera says meh, and Reb Illa says no, it's a real concern. How would also the comment of Ami? There was a certain fellow came before Reb Ami with punktis shaila. So Shadra lekame to Reb Abba bar Mamal Omerle Ovid like Reb Illa. He says do like Reb Illa, i.e. Shimon can say I don't want Ruvain building that window because of the concern of the benkala. Now, even though we said that by a small window there's no chazaka, but if that small window is for light, that Ruvain needs the light in his house, well then, Shimon is aware that this small window, even though it's small, Ruvain is relying on it for light, and therefore it's kavua. The intention is for it to be permanently, and therefore, if Shimon does not want Ruvain to have that window, he will have to be mocha, and if he's not, so then Ruvain would be able to establish a chazaka in that case, even though it's a small window. Says the Mishnah, Haziz ad tefach yeshlo chazaka. Okay, so if Ruvain has got a wall, I guess, to his house, and that wall, I guess, is shared into Shimon's chotzer. Okay, and Ruvain builds this little jut, this little thingy sticking out over Shimon's chotzer, and that's a ziz, this little thingy sticking out. How does Rashbam explain it? The last Rashbam, no. Yes, the last Rashbam on the Mishnah, who ke'ein neser, some kind of board or rosh korah at the end of a bima, bolit mina aliyah lachutz, that kind of sticks out, and it goes from Shimon's house, Reuven's house into Shimon's chotzer, v'roi lisos bochafotzav, and you can hang things on it. Okay. So, haziz ad tefach yesh chazaka. Okay, so if you have a ziz that is a tefach jutting out, so you can make a chazaka like that. Okay, so if Reuven's ziz has been zizzing for 3 years and he claims that they had an arrangement, so then he can keep it there. V'yachol lim chos, and Shimon, right? Reuven's ziz has been zizzing for a while, so he could say, okay, we have an arrangement. Now Shimon, whose chotzer is being zizzed into, he can be mocha, right? Within 3 years, he could say, hey, Reuven, stop. You're zizzing me off. Now, if it's less than a tefach, ein lo chazaka, so Reuven he can never claim that he has a chazaka on that. And ve'ein yochol limchos, and he cannot be mocha. The Gemara is going to explain who can't be mocha to who. Amar Asi, Amar Reb Mani v'Amila, Amar Yaakov, Amar Reb Mani. Says the Gemara that Reb Asi says in the name of Reb Mani. Some taka say is Reb Yaakov in the name of Reb Mani. Hechzik b'tefach, hechzik b'dalet. So if he has a chazaka for a tefach, he has a chazaka for 4 tefachim. Micah Amar, what exactly does this mean? Because it sounds like a strange statement. What if Reuven has a chazaka for a ziz that's 1 tefach jutting out? All of a sudden now he can extend it to 4 tefachim? Why? So Abai says, Abai Achikom, this is what it means. Hechzik rochav tefach b'meshech arba, hechzik b'rochav arba. So if I understand correctly, what it means is that if the ziz is 1 tefach wide, jutting out 4 tefachim into Shimon's chotzer. So since it's jutting out 4 tvachim, he can also extend its width 4 tvachim as well. That once the length is 4 tvachim, the width can also be 4 tvachim. Okay. Pachus mitefach ein lo chazak v'enu yochel limchos. So the Mishnah had said that if the ziz is zizzing less than a tefach, it's jutting out less than a tefach, so there the Reuven has no chazaka, and he can't be mocha. Who can't be mocha? Amar Rav Huna, says Rav Huna, lo shanu ela bal agag v'bal achotzer. Aval bal achotzer v'bal agag yochel limchos. So Rav Huna says the Reuven can't be mocha against Shimon, right? So if Shimon wants to use Reuven's ziz, Reuven can't stop him. Right? So if Shimon wants to hang things on Reuven's ziz, so Reuven can't stop him. Again, Amar Rav Huna says Rav Huna lo shanu ela bal agag b'bal achotzer. Reuven can't prevent Shimon, who owns the chotzer, from hanging things on his ziz. But Shimon can always say to Reuven, I'm taking, I don't want you hanging things into my chotzer. Rav Yudah Amar says, Rav Yudah, afilu bal chotzer b'bal agag eino yochel limchos. Whereas Rav Yudah says that even Shimon cannot say to Reuven, right? Then when it says ve'ein yochel limchos, means even Shimon cannot say to Reuven, I don't want you hanging things into my chotzer. So let's say the machlok is about hezek re'iyah. To myself, shmei hezek, that according to Rav Huna, hezek re'iyah shmei hezek, and therefore Shimon can say to Reuven, I don't want you hanging things in my chotzer, because when you go to hang things, you're going to be gazing at me. You're going to be spying on me. Whereas Rav Yehuda says, Hezek lav shmei hezek, and therefore, Shimon can't say to Reuven, I don't want you hanging things in my chotzer because I don't want you spying on me. Lo d'chulam shmei hezek. No, everybody agrees Hezek re'iyah shmei hezek. The question is there actually hezek re'iyah over here? V'shani yochad, it's different over here. The amalei l'tashmishta lo chazi, l'may chazi, l'misla bei midei, ma'adar na'apoy v'talina bei. That Rav Yehuda, who says that Shimon can not prevent Reuven from hanging things, is because there's no hezek re'iyah. That Reuven says, look, we're talking about a ziz that's less than a tefach. It's not like I can do anything there. The only thing it's useful for is to hang things. Look, when I go to hang things on my little ziz, I'll look away. I won't spy on you. Whereas Rav Huna says that isn't really a sort of sustainable solution, because we're talking about a zizzing out of a wall someplace. Shimon might get a little, Reuven, when he's hanging things on the ziz, he might get a little bit nervous to not be looking when, kind of extending himself over over a fall straight down into a chotzer. So he might get nervous and he might take a spy on Shimon, advertently or inadvertently. And therefore, we do have to be concerned about hezek re'iyah, and therefore, says Rav Huna, Shimon can say to Reuven, I don't want you hanging things on that ziz. Says the Mishnah, Lo yiftach adam chalonosav l'chotzer hashutfin. So, says the Mishnah, a person should not open, let's say, Reuven can't open his windows into a chotzer hashutfin. So if you have a jointly owned chotzer, so Reuven can't open his windows into that chotzer. He can't open new windows into that chotzer. If Reuven buys, right, so in the first case, Reuven has a house in a chotzer that he shares with Shimon. So Reuven can't open a new window into that chotzer. Okay. Now, if Reuven owns a house in an adjacent chotzer, so he can't open either a window or a door. I assume. What does Rashbam say? Okay, okay, it sounds like davka a door. Okay, so if Reuven buys a house in an adjacent chutzner, so Reuven has a chutzner that he owns, I don't know, with Shimon or more people. So it's Reuven has a house in a chutzner, and then he buys a house in an adjacent chutzner, and he wants to open it up into the other, right? So into his current chutzner, let's say. So he can't kind of open an entryway into this new house from his existing chutzner, because as Rashbam points out, because then there's potential for more people to be walking through the chutzner to get into the new house. Maybe he wants to rent it out or whatever. So again, if he buys a house in an adjacent chutzner, he can't create a doorway to get into the new house from the existing chutzner, because it's going to add people coming in and out of the existing chutzner to get into the new house. So if he builds another level onto his house, so don't make an entryway into the new floor from the chutzner shutfin. Again, because if he rents it out, so then there's going to be more people creating traffic in the chutzner. Rather, if he wants rather if he wants to build a house a room in his house, and then he could build another floor on top of that, but the entryway is going to have to be inside of his house. And therefore, since there's no separate entryway, everyone's getting into this new section of the house through the main entryway into his house, that would be okay. Now the shaila is, but still, if he's going to be renting that out, who cares if they're coming in through a separate entrance or the entrance of his house, there's still going to be more traffic in the chutzner. So Gemara is going to explain what's going on. So now, Frekti Gemara, my area l'chutzner ashutfin, afilu l'chutzner chaveru nami, lo. Why? So the Mishnah starts and it says, Liftach adam chalonosav chutzner ashutfin. A person can't open windows into the chutzner ashutfin, into a jointly owned chutzner, right? Because then he's going to be able to have more opportunities to spy on the other people in the chutzner. But why my area the chutzner ashutfin? Why davka that he can't open a window into a chutzner ashutfin that he jointly owns with other people? Afilu l'chutzner chaveru nami lo. You also can't open a window into somebody else's chutzner. Meaning we're saying you can't open a window into joint, right? Reuven and Shimon both have houses in a chutzner. We're saying Reuven can't open a new window into the chutzner because then there's no opportunities to spy on Shimon. Now, Reuven also won't be able to open up a window if it looks into somebody else's chutzner, right? So let's say he doesn't jointly own it with Shimon. Let's say Shimon has his own separate chutzner. Reuven can't open a window that opens into that chutzner. So why are we talking about chutzner ashutfin? I feel the chutzner chaveru nami lo. Reuven also can't open a window into Shimon's chutzner where he doesn't have any ownership in there. So lomi baya kamer, saying not only this, but even that lomi baya l'chutzner chaveru delo. Okay, obviously Reuven can't open a window into Shimon's chutzner. But in a jointly owned chutzner, if Reuven and Shimon both own houses in the same chutzner, the Amalei that Reuven says to Shimon, sof hakabayis it's tanui minoi b'chutzner. Look, what do you care if I open another window into our chutzner? Either way, you're going to have to, you know that I'm here, I'm walking in and out of the chutzner, I have my doorway that I might open my door and see what's going on in the chutzner. Either way, Shimon, it's already on your mind that this is a jointly owned chutzner and that, don't do anything that you wouldn't want anybody seeing. So Kamash Malon, so we're saying still Reuven cannot open up a new window. The Amalei, because Shimon says to Reuven, Aro'ino b'chutzner hava ba'ino itztanui minoch hashtafilu b'bayis nami b'ino itztanui minoch. Look, I don't want you building another window because look, as the next mission is going to say, we don't build doors opposite doors, right? So therefore, Shimon says to Reuven, look, the door to my house is not opposite the door to your house. And therefore, if your door is open and you're looking outside, you're not going to be able to see what I'm doing in my house because my door is not going to be opposite your door. So look, in the chutzner, yeah, I know, memela, I have to be careful what I do in the chutzner because it's not a private area. But my house is a private area. And if your door is open, you can't see through my door. But if you're now going to open a window, and that window can now see into my house, well, now all of a sudden my house is no longer private. Right, so again, so Ada Idna, right? So Kamashim the Amr that Shimon said, Reuven, Ada Idna until now b'chotzer Ava b'init tanui minach. Okay, when I was in the chotzer, I had to, that was not a private area, and I had to, be aware of that. But now that you want to build a window, another place to spy on me from, so it's not even in my house. I have to be careful what I do. There was a Maisa with somebody, let's call him Ruvain, who opened up windows into a shared chotzer. In the case came for Bishma Rabbi Yossi, Amarlo, and Bishma Rabbi Yossi says to Ruvain, look, echzakta, b'ni, echzakta. You made a chazaka, Shimon didn't say anything initially, so it's yours. And Rashbam points out that a few days ago, more than a few days ago, Mem Aleph, wow, that was like 2.5 weeks ago, there was, remember we had seen the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda, who said that a chazaka is not necessarily 3 years, it could be even less than that, and we said also there that Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Yossi's opinion is also that, so that's from here. Since you made this window, and Shimon didn't immediately stop you, and be moche, so you made a chazaka. But the case came before Reb Chia, Amar, and he said, Yagaitu fasachta yageu sisom. Look, Reuven, you put in the work to open up the window, put in the work to close it. Rav Nachman says, Rav Nachman v'listom la'alter avichazaka. Now, even according to Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Yossi, who says that it would be a chazaka, right, that if Shimon didn't immediately say anything, it's a chazaka, but if Shimon then goes and builds a wall opposite the window, within 4 amas, and Reuven doesn't say anything, well then Shimon has a chazaka immediately, and the wall can stay. Reuven can't say, get your wall away, if he didn't say anything initially. Because generally speaking, if a person is building a wall right opposite his window and blocking his light, he's going to say something. And since he didn't say anything, so then Shimon establishes a chazaka with that wall, and Rashbam points out that it's an indication that Reuven knows that he didn't really build that window in good faith, and then Shimon can keep that wall there. Okay. Lokach buys b'chotzer acher. So we said that if Reuven buys a house in an adjacent chotzer, lo yiftachenu l'chotzer ashutfin, he can't open it up into a jointly owned chotzer because it's going to increase traffic if he rents out the house. Now there's more people coming in and out. My time because if Reuven now rents out that house and it's opened into his current chotzer, now there's new people coming in and out of the chotzer. So it's annoying for the people in the existing chotzer, and we don't say Al Manaskin in Yoshua Yisrael Asaretz. Say a seifa. So then, what about the seifa? Elo imrotza bona esacheder lefnimi beso bona ali al gabi beso. So we say in the seifa that he can't build another floor on top of his house and open up an entrance into the chotzer, its own separate entrance, but if he wants, he could build a room in his house and then build a level on top of that. And as long as it opens into the house, but at the end of the day, if he's going to be renting out that new space, who cares if it opens into the house or not? There's going to be more people coming in and out of the chotzer, even if it's through his main front door. But if he's renting out those new rooms, there's more people coming in and out. So says Rav Huna that no, what the Mishnah is saying is not saying build a new section of the house and rent it out to new people, right? Because that would be a problem because then more people are going to be coming in and out. Rather, what it's saying is that you can, within your existing house, you can put up a wall if you want to split a room in half or something. You can divide up your own house however you want. There's no limitations on who could be in your house. right? So therefore, we're not talking about building a new thing. Now there's new space, so you can rent out to new people. No, meaning in your existing house, if you want to have 30 people over for Shabbos, have 30 people over for Shabbos, meaning you can do whatever you want in your existing house. So if in his existing house, he wants to divide a room in half, and interestingly, we're not talking about, putting up a vertical wall, but putting up some kind of building like a loft or whatever, right? And that's what it means. He's building an extra room and building on top, right, one on top of the other, putting up a wall to split it in half to build a loft. If you want, you can do that. No problem. That was Daf Nun Tes of BavaBasra. It took a bit longer than I expected. Peace out.